I've been talking about this idea of quitting my job for so fucking long, and I finally put in my 2 weeks yesterday. And I know that's technically not quitting, but it is quitting. And so I already set the date. I told them everything. And so, bro, it feels so fucking good. But it also, I'm telling you right now, it was so fucking scary. And I've been planning on doing this for months now, weeks now. I've been talking about it. And I'll tell you this much. For some reason, there's so much fear and fear and this anxiety involved in making the decision, because it's almost like a one-time decision. And for me especially, it was like I was gonna quit this job, which was very easy. It was very close to my house, whatever, right? But more importantly, I was essentially not just quitting this job, I was quitting the job world. And I think that is so important because it's something that I genuinely wanted to do for a long time, and I only just now finally got the confidence to do it because I believe in my knowledge, skills, and my ambition and drive to make it to the end of where I want to be. And so I talk about this. I talk about this idea of quitting your job and starting your own business and having, going on the entrepreneurship path. And I genuinely know it's something I'm genuinely passionate about because it's something that I'm currently going through. And so if anyone who's watching this, anyone who's seeing this, anyone who else has the same sort of dream and vision of something bigger, something more, this pursuit of freedom, having fulfilling work, having this idea that like just not being limited, right? I hate this idea. For me, personal development, self-improvement is so important just as a lifestyle, right? Just the idea of like not even on some like woo like cornball shit. It's like, why would you ever want to limit yourself? Why would you ever want to be constrained by some corporation, some job? The idea that my income was capped, the fact that I was getting paid by my hourly input, the fact that I was doing work that I did not find fulfilling, the fact that in the future, if it would take me years on end to actually grow, in the corporate world or whatever it may be. And I would always have to go through these job applications, these interviews, like, having to mesh with people I don't actually resonate with, having to do work that I don't care about, pushing, building someone else's long-term assets. Like, none of it made sense to me. And it all felt so fucking wrong, but I genuinely could not understand why. And it was the fact that the job path was just not for me. But it's like, it's what's programmed in our head. It's like, go to school, get a job, and retire. But nobody else tells you that there's another path. Like, the reason that you have a job, I knew that every reason I had a job was to make money, right? So my goal wasn't to have a job and make money. It was just to make money. The input did not matter, but I simply did not know my other options. I didn't realize that entrepreneurship was a pathway that could work for me. And so once you finally read enough books, you start getting some real role models. If you don't have them in real life, you find them digitally or whatever it may be, you start seeing that there's another pathway, there's another option in your life. You don't have to be constrained and contained to this idea that society has fed you. And I think it's so powerful that more and more people discover this information, hence why I'm making these videos and spreading it, because I wish younger me had known that there was another way out. It's like, even if younger me knew about this idea of entrepreneurship and business, I didn't realize how not easy, but how simple it was, right? Because the real game changer for me was this idea that if I were to spend 5 to 7 years in corporate, the long commutes, the unfulfilling work, having to network and do all this bullshit, 5 to 7 years is a very long time, and only to probably just break 6 figures, right? And after taxes, it wouldn't even be 6 figures. So if my goal was to become rich, make a lot of money, and let's just say 6 figures was a lot of money, which it really is not, right? Especially for think about how much time you're giving up for those 6 figures, right? So if I were to spend 5 to 7 years only to just make 6 figures, again, limited by my input of time, it's like, how the fuck is that worth it? You're telling me that there's another pathway, that if I had taken those same 5 to 7 years and I allocated them towards entrepreneurship and business, yes, I might not have gotten paid in the first 3 months, the first 6 months, or even the first year, but really 5 to 7 years working on entrepreneurship and business, you really don't think you would be successful? That's the question I ask myself, right? I've seen myself become successful in relatively hard endeavors in shorter time periods, and the more and more endeavors you approach, the things you do, I've realized that success almost accumulates. I always talk about, I have a video of this idea of success principle, where it's like consistency, persistence, and refinement. And it's not just an idea that I've seen across the different successes that I've had, but I've seen it talked about amongst hundreds of tons of other creators on the internet. So they're all talking about relatively the same thing. So it's principles. It's not even just a method. And so if you can get success in one area of life, you can get it in another. And I've seen that, and I've done that. So what makes why don't I believe that I can also get it in this entrepreneurship business thing? And I think it's just a limiting belief that we're told that business is hard, entrepreneurship is hard, most people fail, this, that. It's like, most people are just not me, right? It's like, how can you take those general statistics? You don't even know those people's lives. You don't know anything about them. You don't know their brain power. You don't know their knowledge. You don't know their skills. How can I compare myself to those people? It's like a majority of people will say going to the gym is hard. Majority of people are not even in shape. A majority of people cannot even fathom the idea of going to the gym for 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. And I go to the gym 3 hours a day for 5 days a week. And I've been doing that for well over 2, 3, 4 years. And I've been in shape for 3, 4 years now. So it's like, again, it's like, if you can understand your level of success and drive in one endeavor, why couldn't those same exact, it's still you, it's still your personality, it's still your brain, just be applied to another area, right? And it's like, another thing I heard was like, you're already working 40 hours at your job. Why couldn't you just work those 40 hours at your own business, making way more money, doing work you actually care about? It's like, it almost sounds like a no-brainer, right? With the 5 to 7 years commitment and then the 40 hours, it's like, simply people are just too scared because they don't believe in themselves. They haven't seen success in other endeavors in their life. And it's like, on top of the fact that you might just not get paid, right? Like, you might not get paid for a month, 3 months, 6 months, but eventually then when the money comes, it'll be raining, it'll be pouring, right? Because it's like, you see, nothing happens and everything happens. You see this in so many different aspects. I saw that with my own physique, right? Like, I literally had no gains for such a long time because I was doing things wrong. I was trying to figure stuff out, but then, everything started popping up at the same time. I was getting vascular, I was getting muscles, my chest was getting bigger, I started getting compliments. It's like, nothing happens and everything happens. It's just like what happens in life: when it rains, it pours, right? And so if you can understand that, and you can just be patient, and you can apply yourself to what you actually want in life, right? Setting yourself up for the long term is always so important. And so, I told myself, if I go back into the job world, I'm setting myself up to make, 50, 60K, and then 5 to 7 years later, I'll only be set to make myself 100K, maybe 110, if that. And it's like, how is that going to be my life? Like I can't fathom that idea at all. It genuinely boggles me and it pisses me off. And so there was no other way besides this way, essentially, right? Like, maybe there is another way to get rich, but this way is a lot more optimal, a lot more efficient, and it aligns with my goals because I'll be able to make how much I actually want to make. I'll have more autonomy, I'll have more freedom, and I can actually build my wealth because it's a long-term play. It's not just short-term, right? And so the big thing is, I'm like, obviously I'm making these videos to just hopefully encourage even just one person to take that exact same step. I'm showcasing how I'm thinking about things. If you are able to get a job, save your money, adopt the knowledge and skills needed in order to get your business up and running, Monkey Branch would obviously be optimal. But for me personally, I can't get myself, not that I can't get myself, but it's like, it's been very hard to allocate the time that I need to work on my business in order for me to Monkey Branch and get those first few clients, or first set of cash flow, right? So I almost needed to sink all the boats. I needed to know that I wasn't making money. I needed to become more deficit in my income in order for me to be therefore more motivated and more driven to do this work. And also just, I need that, because it's creative work, and you need it to be, for me personally, in the mornings, I'm most creative. And of course, in a 9 to 5, your mornings are, you commuting and then going to this dog shit job. So it's like, it was occupying the most important time of my day. So even I had the option to obviously come home and work on it, but I'd rather go to the gym. And I wasn't going to take the gym out of my lifestyle because that's still, again, a long-term play where I learned the autonomy and the need to work on myself. So it wasn't something, I'd rather cut out my job than cut out the gym because the income wasn't as important as my gains. And I know that sounds like crazy, but it's simply because of the way my life is set up. I just have very little expenses and very little liabilities. I have lots of savings, and the income that I was making was it wasn't a great amount, but even then it was just padding my bank account. I wasn't spending it, I wasn't using it. And so it just became, it just was unnecessary. And so I had to cut it out, and now I had to fully focus on this. And so if you're able to just endure the stress of not having a paycheck, right? And I'll tell you, that stress is really weird because even if it's not a big paycheck, for some reason we're just naturally attached to it. I genuinely believe it's one of the facets of why jobs are able to hold on to employees for so long, that paycheck hitting is like a dopamine hit. And so it's what we fight for like every single week. So like you might, like I feel like for me personally, every weekend I was like, oh my God, I just want to quit my job. I hate my job, this and that. And I feel like a lot of people feel like that. And then when that paycheck hits, it's like, okay, my job's not that bad. And like the payday, like what people talk about, believe people will say, oh, I love payday, right? It's like they literally get happy and ecstatic about it. For me personally, the payday was hitting and I was like happy for like maybe the first month. Every month after that, I was like, why the fuck do people still get happy? Every weekend, I heard people saying, oh yeah, I just did this, I spent money doing this. I was like, why the fuck are you spending your paycheck? Why the fuck are you doing anything that isn't helping you eventually get out of this fucking rat race? It's like, no wonder so much people are trapped in this constant like vicious loop where they get paid, they get happy, they spend all their money on the weekends, then they, from Monday to whenever, they're miserable, they want to quit again, and they get paid. So then the dopamine hits and they're right back in this fucking vicious hamster wheel loop, right? And so it's like, if you can save enough money to cover your bills, cover your expenses, and maybe even fund your business, if you're able to understand that time allocated to entrepreneurship and business is just, it's only a matter of, if you have the capabilities, it's only a matter of time before you succeed. Especially if you've had success in other endeavors, it's just, people believe it's so hard. People believe there's so much luck involved. It's so much strategy. It's actually insane. And the more in depth you get in terms of how much knowledge you have in the space, how often you will see people who have success and you talk to these people, all of them will tell you, yes, maybe it was a very little bit of luck, right? Maybe like the luck was literally the time you were born in or the opportunity that just happened to arise. But very little of it has to do with luck, maybe like 5 to 10%. So it's like people will blame luck because it's easier to blame luck rather than blame themselves and being like, yeah, I don't believe in myself, I'm lazy, I don't have that work ethic or whatever. But I'm telling you, if you can really believe in yourself, if you have the ambition, you have the drive, you keep working at it, it will work. 90%, 95% even strategy, I'm telling you. Really look into it, immerse yourself, get the knowledge, get the skills, and it's only a matter of time. And just be able to endure the time, endure the stress, fuck the paycheck. Just think long term. That's all you have to tell yourself, right? Think about what's possible, what's the potential. And now my life is, I'm still working till I'm 75 instead of 65. It's like all these things have to be playing in your head at all times because you need to get out. It's the people that you are surrounding yourself with are obviously these people at the job. So naturally you will conform to them because that's what feels normal. That's what feels regular. And it's easy to conform to them because you are who you surround yourself with. Just hearing them talk, the words are getting programmed into your brain. So it's more intoxicating than you think because you literally need to get yourself out before everything that they say becomes the new normal in your head, right? You literally need to keep people who you actually want to be, like who have the success that you want. You need their words to be stronger than the words you hear. But again, these people are typically not around you. You might be just listening to podcasts or videos or whatever, but those words need to be contained in your head much stronger than the people that you actually see in real life, which again, very hard because it's tangible versus intangible, right? It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. You have to genuinely believe in yourself, genuinely believe the people who are telling you and trying to guide you towards success. The people who are around you talking about they hate their job but everybody has to work a job, everybody has to work hard, this, that, and the third, right? Those are the people who don't have the success that you want. Don't listen to them. You wouldn't listen to a fat person on how to get skinny. Don't listen to a poor person about how to get rich. Don't listen to a person who doesn't have a business talk about business, right? It's that simple. Only listen to credible sources. Only listen to people who have the same goals as you, who are similar to you, who have the success that you want. I'm telling you, that alone will take you so much farther because then you're able to cut out the noise. And once you cut out the noise, you start thinking and you start realizing all of these little things. It's like, wait, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. This is possible. That's possible. This is not luck. This is just people being lazy. This is not risk. It's just more work, right? All of these little things are adding up. All the things that you hear these creators talk about starts becoming true. And you're like, wait, he said this. Why did he, it might not have made sense the first time you consumed it or heard it, but over time you will naturally understand why they said it. It just takes some time and takes exposure to knowledge and information. Once you get it, you process it, you apply it into reality, you'll see it for yourself and you'll say, whoa, everything they said was true. These guys weren't lying. They weren't scamming me. They literally gained nothing out of scamming you. These creators who are guiding you, if they try to scam you, they in the end lose. If they're trying to make money as well, they're trying to grow, scamming you will not work long term. It's a short term play to do scams. They are trying to help you Like, you still hear people talk about this idea of courses are scams, and I've been thinking that exact same thing because you hear it so often. Courses are scams, courses are scams. But legitimately think about it this way. Courses are your education dedicated to making money. If there's a course on how to make money and it's created by a valid, credible source, like a person who's actually made the money and who actually uses his method that he talks about in his course, then why would you not buy that course? Especially if you have the money to buy it, you're essentially buying his system in order to make money, so you don't have to go through the trial and error of figuring it out yourself and seeing if it works, if it doesn't work. It's like the number one thing to do with your money is to invest in education that will help you make more money. Why? Because then you want more money, right? People are trying to put their money in their bank, trying to save money at like the worst interest rates. People are putting their money in the stock market, which again, investing is good, but only once your income is better, right? And so it's like we all have these like false beliefs, limiting beliefs, all this wrong information that society programs us to believe because you hear it so often, or you just don't hear it enough, right? You don't read the right books, you're not exposed to the right information in school, and so it keeps us trapped. And so when you start realizing one trap, you're like, wait, there has to be more, and you keep figuring them out time and time and time again, and then you start realizing everything that society says is pretty much wrong. That's why a majority of society is just not successful, not free, not in shape, not good looking, not rich, not any of the things that you actually want. Nonetheless, quit your job, understand entrepreneurship, read books, expose yourself to information, expose yourself to people who you actually want to be like. Don't listen to the noise, cut them out, and in the end, you're gonna fucking win.